So we'll begin with Mr. Hairston. Everyone wants to be ethical, and everyone gets called upon sometimes to let ethics slip. How do you define ethics, and how will you be able to maintain ethical standards?
I mean, ethics is doing the right thing. Could you repeat that question one more time?
Sure. Everyone wants to be ethical, and everyone gets called upon sometimes to let ethics slip. How do you define ethics, and how will you be able to maintain ethical standards?
Well, just like I stated in the beginning, making sure you're doing the right thing. And training, make sure your people are trained. And just making sure everybody's trained in the department. And ethics is just make sure you're doing the right thing. Thinking everything should fall in place.
I think the issue about the ethics and all is you have to set a standard across the board, straight across the board. And if you treat everybody fair and don't waver from that, and don't question your integrity, question your character, I believe the ethics part of it would, how could you go wrong? If you treat everyone fair, which across the board, whether I've made this comment before, whether they live in Benjamin Harvey Hills or Hollis Hand, if you treat everybody fair and across the board, no one has an issue with it.
Mr. Woodruff.
Ethics, I believe, is defined as doing the right thing all the time, even when nobody's watching. And I believe being in political office, you have to be ethical. You have to be above the board. You have to do the right thing all the time, even when no one's watching. That we would require that from our people that work for us. So how much more should we require that of ourselves, being in an elected position, being in a place of leadership? Sure, there's training that would go along with ethics, but I think we have to lead by example. We have to train our people by example. We have to hold them to a certain standard, and I think first we have to hold ourselves to that standard.
Chris, I think you can look at 20 years of our service. If we don't treat people ethical, there's a problem with that. There's attorneys that are out there waiting to look at the part that we've done something wrong. In the 20 years that we've been there, we've never been sued for ethical problems. We have two different situations where I fired 5 jailers at one time. At a different time, I fired 5 other jailers for a different time for doing something unethical in jail, by mistreating people. The whole time we've been there, we hold you to that ethical standard. We think you should be treated fair. We think you should be treated positive. We treat you the way you want us to treat us. If you violate the law, you got to pay for that. If you don't, if we do something different than we should do that, we go back and we make our stand. We tell our employees, if you've done something unethical, you've treated people unfair. That's sad to say, but when you give a young guy a badge and a gun and a car, things like that happen. Every time that's happened, you're going to find out that that has been addressed. We've done that. If you look at the number of lawsuits Troup County's had for being unethical, you will find there's not been any in there. If it has been there, it's because we've addressed it and we had to pay for what we've done wrong. So every time the unethical things have been brought to me about what we've done, we've addressed that. We've moved on. If we've done somebody wrong, that's been taken care of, but we stand for the proper thing with people. We treat people the way we want to be treated.
Our next question begins with Mr. Harrington. What will you do or have done to ensure deputies are safe and come home to their families each day?
What would I do?
Or have done? What will you do or have done to ensure that deputies are safe and come home to their families each day?
Well, I'll refer back to my military background, being a drill sergeant. We're training thousands of troops and all to go and defend this country and all, and I would ensure that our deputies and all have the best training possible. I've got contacts with military people and all that I would hope to have support and all, to be able to train our deputies and all to have the best training. I don't want to, we've had issues before, and I've heard rumors and all. I've not saw it for a fact and all, but we have deputies and all that have been injured and all in the jail or physically injured and all, and I would want to give a better understanding of hand-to-hand, the new style of modern combatives and all that the Army is teaching them. I don't think they really have any type of training like that now. I'm not positive, but I'm sure it's not to the standard of what the Army would train somebody. It's really, I don't really know what else to say about it. I mean, just proper training and dedication, lead by example.
Mr. Woodruff?
I think it comes down to training. That's one of the main things you have to do. You have to train your people to make sure that they are able to go out there on the streets. You have to give them the proper equipment, the proper safety equipment. You have to make sure they've got bulletproof vests that are up to date. You've got to give them everything that they need to be able to do the job, and then you've got to train them. I have met with police departments within Troup County and have talked to a couple of chiefs, and I've actually told them what I would like to do is cross-train with their agencies. So if we get a shooter in a school and we have to call on the LaGrange Police Department to come and help us, I would like for their officers to know how we're trained and we know how they're trained, so we can go in that building together as a team and be able to clear that building safely, keeping our officers safe and keeping any other people in that building safe. So it comes back to training, but it also goes to your supervisors to make sure that your officers that are under your command are out there and they're following these safety procedures. To make sure when they're doing traffic stops, they need to be reviewing these tapes out of the patrol cars to make sure they're approaching the vehicle properly. One thing that I did for several years is taught at the Columbus Police Department, and I taught domestic violence. That's one of our most common cases that we deal with. That's one of our most dangerous cases that we deal with. And I taught these officers how you approach the house, the things that you need to do, how to separate the occupants. And so I know about safety, and I know that is utmost important in everything that we do every day to get these people back home safe every night to their family.
Sheriff Turner?
We train from the jail on up to the deputies. We have jailers that have equipment in there for them. We have wheelchairs. It's like a wheelchair. We put an inmate in. We strap him down. We give him a helmet in there. We put things around him where he can't hurt himself, where he can't hurt jailers. We give our jailers tasers that they can use instead of a nightstick to beat somebody with or whatever, to tase them if we need to. They have pepper spray if they need to do that. So we're in the process of training out with our jailers to make sure we have a team that comes in. If something happens, 2 or 3 can come involved in there and help take that situation over. In addition to that, we have our deputies that are furnished with information. They give the equipment they need to do that. We have shotguns. We have automatic rifles that we've never had the county equipment, the county commissioners to buy for us. We've been able to purchase those things and put them in our vehicles. We have equipment in there such as stop sticks. Last night, the U.S. Marshals chased a guy down 185. One of our deputies here was able to put the stop stick out. Just killed his girlfriend in Mobile, Alabama that same day. That stop stick, we furnished him to train him, has been able to put that out, stop that vehicle. Therefore, we're not having to run down the road, chase him at 125 miles an hour. We give them the information, we give them the training, we give them the equipment they need to do so. We will continue to do that. Anything they need, we have shields that are bulletproof shields that we have to go into your house and you're locked in your house and you don't want to come out. We give the shields to our supervisors. They have non-lethal weapon things to go in there to shoot tear gas through the windows. We have rubber bullets to shoot somebody with that we, instead of using a regular ammunition of the gun. We've got them trained with everything they need, and we've given them every information, everything they need for equipment-wise to be able to take their situation under control without killing that person or without having to use lethal weapon against those people. So we're going to continue to give them the things they need. We're going to continue to train them, and we're going to continue to take them in custody when we can without anybody getting hurt.
Mr. Woodruff, the question begins with you. What is Troup County's most pressing law enforcement? Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead, Ruben. I'm sorry. It's my fault.
Just like the panel was saying, training, what I would like to see is once a month we have training with all the agencies in the surrounding area to come in and sit down at the table, and also invite citizens also. And some of our corporate could be sponsors to sponsor luncheon for it, and have all the surrounding agencies to come in and sit down at the table so we can all work together as a team, because it takes a team to solve these crimes. A lot of the citizens in the area knows what's going on, but if we don't have that trust from the citizens, then we're just fighting a lost battle. So what I want to do is bring all the surrounding agencies to the table. We sit down and target the at-risk areas in the county and find out where all the crimes are being committed. That's what I would like to do. I think it will keep Troup County safe.